It's great to see such a turnout, particularly when you're in such a temptation as the Guinness Hop Store, where you have an infinity bar upstairs that serves all day long. So it's good to see that you have that interest in what is going to be a very important element of how the built environment develops. Now, I'm Ciaran O'Connor. I'm the State Architect within the Office of Public Works, and people often ask me, what does that really mean? And what it means is that I have to act as a centre of a compass between the push and pull of politics and the desires and aims of architecture and the building industry. And then, as Irish people would know at the moment, we're not in a good place on the economic front side of things. We're coming out of that, but it has had a huge and dramatic effect on the building construction industry. So as we go forward, we have to now focus where we want to be in the next 5 to 10 years. And part of the big plus, I think, of this meeting is it will tell us where we might go in the next 5 to 10 years. And what I would say, there's not just one route. I have people who would say to me, this is the route, or that's the route, or there's never just one route to do anything. And the question is looking at what is the most appropriate one, and what timescale to have it in, what suits our economy, what suits our industry, and that doesn't disadvantage us to do business abroad. So part of that is sort of coupling a vision with a strategy. And I think it's always easy to say, I have this vision and I know where I'm going. But we all know between having visions, there's a lot of perspiration to turn ideas into reality. And there's a lot of perspiration to be put into how we go forward on the whole aspect of BIM and all the elements that may or may not come out of that. Now, in a world that's political, where it's ad hoc and all go, and where often expediency is over expertise, in the world I have to live in, that means that we have to get beyond a 2-year time frame. Political people by nature have to live with that. That doesn't mean we should denigrate them for that, but it's part of the reality. And part of the reality I have to deal with is how to make that 2 years 4, 6, 8, 10, 20 years. So when you look forward, you have a structure despite the political changes and other things that come along. So what I think we need to be interactive as well as individual in how we go about that. And I think Alan and his team who've brought this conference to Dublin are to be commended for that. What they're doing is integrating academia, people who are interested in the new technology, for us to go forward. So we have to integrate all of those different agendas to come up with one that suits us. We're very aware of what our nearest neighbours in the UK are aware of. Also, because I have a Dutch wife, I'm very aware of what the Dutch are doing, and I have spoken with the Dutch State Architect about what their processes and progresses will be. So, and having worked in Germany and other countries in America and Canada, I am aware of what those countries are doing as well. Anyhow, that's enough about what I'm involved in. I think what today's talks is that there's a promise of BIM, as it were. And I'm sure you've heard lots of talk about what the technology can do, and technology is great and could do all sorts of things, but all of us who have computers for over the years, we probably use maybe 20% of its potential. And the question is the 20% the right 20%, and do we need to expand that? We have to do it without disadvantaging anyone. I don't want the SMEs or the smaller practices being disadvantaged at the expense of larger practices who can afford bigger levels of investment. We're a small country, we need to export, we need to have practices that can move between Ireland, Britain and Europe and elsewhere. And we need also to grow our own people. And I learned that when I worked in Germany. The Germans looked after their small and medium-sized businesses, and that's one of the reasons why the German economy is very resilient, as well as other reasons. So the promise of BIM, and I think it has to linking the thing of process and product. And as an architect, I am always wary of people who just talk to me about process. And I say that because you can get lost in process and just think it's about the bar chart or it's about this type of technology. The key thing is it has to be all worthwhile at the end. There has to be a reason for doing it that's worthwhile. And buildings that we do have to be humane, help make people be human towards each other. And that's maybe a very lofty sort of idea, but I don't want to get lost in the technocratic or the engineering view. that is just singular dimension. I want those things integrated. They're all important. Cost control is important. Technology is important. But also what we produce. We have a limited amount of resources to produce things, but we can produce the things that are worthwhile, and so they have to be worthwhile to do. Not just we have a notion or a graphic view of the world and that's what we do. It has to be things for people to live in. Now that's enough for me. I think the aspect of the individual and the interactive is a key lead-in thing to the how we use building information modelling, and we have excellent speakers this morning.